restraining, most loving, mere folly, then hey, ho, the holly. This life is most jolly.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Wheel of Shakespeare Challenge. We are back for our first round for the month of June. So, looking forward to starting off a good new month with the works of Shakespeare that we perform for you randomly, as chosen randomly by the Wheel of Shakespeare. John will be performing first today, and then I am on deck. It's not right here. There we go. Okay, so John is going to perform our first monologue, and which is going to be in the wheel to find out. Prince, rebellious subject, Romeo and Juliet.
Okay. Be there just a second.
It starts rebellious subjects, enemies of peace. Whenever you're
Okay. Just be a second here. Rebellious subjects, enemies to peace, profaners of this neighbor stained steel, will they not hear? What ho, you men, you beasts, that quench the fire of your pernicious rage with purple fountains issuing from your veins. On pain of torture, from those bloody hands throw your mistempered weapons to the ground, and hear the sentence of your moved prince. 3 civil brawls, bred of an airy word, by thee, O Capulet and Montague, have thrice disturbed the quiet of our streets, and made Verona's ancient citizens cast by their grave beseeming ornaments to wield old partisans in hands as old, cankered with peace, to part your cankered hate. If you ever disturb our streets again, your lives shall pay the forfeit of the peace. For this time, all the rest depart away. You, Capulet, shall go along with me, and Montague, come you this afternoon to know our further pleasure in this case, to old Freetown, our common judgment place, once more on pain of death. All men depart.
okay. Thank you, John. So it's my turn now, and Shelia is on deck. She will go after I do. We are gonna go. Ooh, Falstaff. Honor is in respect of me. Okay, so Prince Hal has just told me I owe God a death, but 'tis not due yet. I would be loath to pay him before his day. What need I be so forward with him that calls not on me? Well, 'tis no matter. Honor pricks me on. Yea, but how if honor prick me off when I come on? How then? Can honor set a leg? No. Or an arm? No. Or take away the grief of a wound? No. Honor hath no skill in surgery, then? No. What is honor? A word. What is in that word, honor? What is that honor? Air. A trim reckoning. Who hath it? He that died on Wednesday. Doth he feel it? No. Doth he hear it? No. 'Tis insensible then, yea, to the dead. But wilt it not live with the living? No. Why? Detraction will not suffer it. Therefore I'll none of it. Honor is a mere scutcheon. And so ends my catechism. Okay. Was fun. Shelia, you're up, and Maggie is on deck. We'll go after Shelia performs. Cominius, I shall lack the voice. This is Coriolanus, Act 2, Scene 2. I believe it begins, I shall lack voice. So whenever you're...
I shall lack voice. The deeds of Coriolanus should not be uttered feebly. It is held that valor is the chiefest virtue and most dignifies the haver. If it be, the man I speak of cannot in the world be singly counterpoised. At 16 years, when Tarquin made a head for Rome, he fought beyond the mark of others. Our then dictator, whom with all praise I point at, saw him fight when with his Amazonian chin he drove the bristled lips before him. He bestrid an o'erpressed Roman, and in the consul's view slew 3 opposers. Tarquin's self he met and struck him on his knee. In that day's feats, when he might act the woman in the scene, he proved best man in the field, and for his meed was brow bound with the oak. His pupil age man entered thus. He waxed like a sea, and in the brunt of 17 battles since, he lurched all swords of the garland. For this last, before and in Corioli, let me say I cannot speak him home. He stopped the flyers, and by his rare example made the coward turn terror into sport. As weeds before a vessel under sail, so men obeyed and fell below his stem. His sword, death's stamp where it did mark, it took. From face to foot, he was a thing of blood, whose every motion was timed with dying cries. Alone he entered the mortal gate of the city, which he painted with shunless destiny. Aidless came off, and with a sudden reinforcement struck Corioli like a planet. Now all's his. When by and by the din of war 'gan pierce his ready sense, then straight his doubled spirit re-quickened what in flesh was fatigued. And to the battle came he, where he did run reeking o'er the lives of men as if 'twere a perpetual spoil. until we called both field and city ours. He never stood to ease his breast with panting. Scene.
Hey, very nice. Henry just joined us, so and we missed him, so we're going to come back. We're going to do Henry's monologue, and then so Maggie is still on deck, but first we got to catch up with Henry. Okay, Henry, you're going to do.
Hello.
Henry, God put you in his mercy. Okay, this is just after the plot against his life was uncovered.
And it says 2-2.
Yeah, I believe it's the very end of the scene. Act 2, Scene 2, Henry V. Whenever you're
How does it start? The mercy. It's not the mercy. The mercy that was quick in it. No?
I believe God quit you in his mercy.
Okay, God quit you in his mercy. Right. God quit you in his mercy. Hear your sentence. You have conspired against our royal person, joined with an enemy proclaimed, and from his coffers received the golden earnest of our death, wherein you would have sold your king to slaughter, his princes and his peers to servitude, his subjects to oppression and contempt, and his whole kingdom into desolation. Touching our persons seek we no revenge, but we our kingdom's safety must so tender, whose ruin you have sought, that to her laws we do deliver you. Get you therefore hence, poor miserable wretches, to your death, the taste whereof God of his mercy give you patience to endure, and true repentance of all your dear offences. Bear them hence. Now, lords, for France, the enterprise whereof shall be to you as us like glorious. We doubt not of a fair and lucky war, since God so graciously hath brought to light this dangerous treason lurking in our way to hinder our beginnings. We doubt not now, but every rub is smoothed on our way. Then forth, dear countrymen, let us deliver our puissance into the hand of God, putting it straight into expedition, cheerily to sea. The signs of war advance, no king of England, if not king of France. MC?
Okay, great. So we have Maggie, and then Bill, and then we'll spin for our scenes. So
Hi.
Maggie, do. Lady Percy, Henry IV, Part 1, Act 2, Scene 3.
Okay, can you please stay until I actually find it? All right, Henry IV, Part 1. If I know this, if I'm this what I think it is, it's really fabulous.
Yeah, it's about 35.
Part 1, wait a minute, Act 2, Scene 3?
Let's see. Yeah, Act 2, Scene 3.
Okay, Act 2, Scene 3. Hotspur. Is she's speaking to Hotspur?
Okay,
yeah, that must be the only. It's the only long one. Okay, I see where it is.
Okay,
all right.
So
it's not what I thought, but I'll do it anyway. Okay. Oh my good Lord, why are you thus alone? For what offense have I this fortnight been a banished woman from Harry's bed? Tell me, sweet Lord, what is that takes thee from thy stomach pleasure and thy golden sleep? Why dost thou bend thine eyes upon the earth and start so often when thou stirrest alone? Why hast thou lost the fresh blood in thy cheeks and given my treasures and my rights of thee to thick-eyed amusing and cursed melancholy? In thy faint slumbers I by thee have watched and heard thee murmur tales of iron wars, speak terms of manage to thy bounding steed, cry courage to the field. And thou hast talked of sallies and retires, of trenches, tents, of palisadoes, frontiers, parapets, of basilisks, of cannon culverin, of prisoners' ransom, and of soldiers slain, and all the currents of a heady fight. Thy spirit within thee hath been so at war, and thus hath so bestirred thee in thy sleep, that beads of sweat have stood upon thy brow like bubbles in a late disturbed stream. And in thy face strange motions have appeared, such as we see when men restrain their breath on some great sudden hest. Oh, what portents are these? Some heavy business hath my lord in hand, and I must know it, else he loves me not. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That was a great one. All right, so our last monologue before we spin for characters in multiplayer scenes will be done by Bill, and he's going to do Friar Lawrence, the gray-eyed man. This is his very first entrance.
2-3.
The beginning of Act 2, Scene 3. So whenever you're ready, go.
Okay, the very beginning. Okay. The gray-eyed morn smiles on the frowning night, checkering the eastern clouds with streaks of light, and flecked darkness with like a drunken reels from fourth day's path and Titan's fiery wheels. Now, ere the sun advances, burning eye, the day to cheer and the night's dank dew to dry, I must fill up this austere cage of ours with baleful weeds and precious juiced flowers. The earth, that's nature's mother, is her tomb. What is her burying grave? That is her womb. And from her womb, children of divers kind, we sucking on her natural bosom find. Many for many virtues excellent, none but for some, and yet all different. Oh, mickle is the powerful grace that lies in herbs, plants, stones, and their true qualities. For naught so vile that on the earth doth live, but to the earth some special good doth give. For aught so good but strained from that fair use revolts from true birth, stumbling on abuse. Virtue itself turns vice, being misapplied, and vice sometimes by action dignified. Within the infant rind of this small flower, poison hath residence, and medicine power. For this, being smelt, with that part cheers each part, being tasted, slays all senses with the heart. Too much opposed kings encamp them still, in man as well as herbs, grace and rude will. And where the worser is predominant, full soon the canker death eats up that plant.
Okay, thank you, Bill. All right, let's see what roles we have in scenes for the six of us to do today. What is the wheel going to give us? First off, we have Henry V, part one, the two bishops, Canterbury and Ely, Henry the Henry the Sixth, Part 3, Act 3, Scene 1. So it's the king and two gamekeepers, gamekeeper 1, gamekeeper 2. Give me a second here. Okay, there's 3 roles in that, and but I'm going to I realize the scene with the 2 bishops, that's mostly the Duke of Canterbury dominates that one. So whoever I give that one to, that won't count their turn. So I'll just assign. Anthony and Cleopatra. Act 4, and this one, Antony, and the other 2. Again, the other 2 are just are small roles. I'm not going to count Mardian. I'll just assign those to Antony. Second here. Make sure that the Henry VI scene isn't one that people are going to be disappointed in the size of their roles. Let's see. So, okay. So for the 6 of us, the choices are going to be that we'll choose an order. Will be the Archbishop of Canterbury at the first scene of Henry V, King Henry VI, first gamekeeper, second gamekeeper who encounters him after he's been defeated, Antony in Act 4, Scene 14, and the 6th choice will be to do a second monologue, because the roles of Eros and Mardian, who both have a role in that Act 4 scene, that they're very small, so I'll just assign them to other people. And the same thing with the Bishop of Ely in the first one, the Henry V scene. It's the 2 bishops talking, but Canterbury does most of the talking in that scene. So again, the ones that we're going to do based on choices rather than just random assignment will be Bishop of Canterbury, King Henry VI, Gamekeeper 1, Gamekeeper 2, Antony, or a second monologue. So, John, what would you like among those?
Well, due to unfamiliarity there a little bit, I would like very much to participate in scenes, but I think maybe go for the monologue if that's
We'll do a monologue. Okay. All right. So I will. I'm going to take Antony. Sheila, what would you like?
I'll take Canterbury.
Sheila is going to take Canterbury. Henry, what would you like?
I'm not sure what's left.
We have.
You...
I think we have the 3 roles in that Henry VI Part 3 scene, where the king is discovered after he's just been defeated by the 2 gamekeepers. There's the king or the 2 gamekeepers.
So the roles that are left are King Henry or
Gamekeeper 1 or Gamekeeper 2.
Well, I'll take Henry, I guess. Is that Henry VI, Part 3?
Yeah. Henry VI, Part 3, Act 3, Scene 1. And the gamekeepers are kind of small, so I'll make sure that I'll make sure that the people that got those two choices also, that I also use them either as Eli or as the two small characters in the Antony scene, or both. Meg,
So I guess that Bill and I are going to be the gamekeepers, I'm assuming.
They seem to be about the same size, those roles.
Yeah, I'll just do one then. Gamekeeper 1. And you said it's Henry VI, Part 3, Act 3, Scene 1?
Yes.
Thank you.
So, and what I'll do is I'll also I'll say for the third scene, Maggie and Bill will also be Eros and Mardian. So I'll make Bill will also be Eros, and you will also be Mardian in the is kind of small roles, so you get to go twice. All right, so and then Bill, I'll put you in the first scene to with Shelia as the Bishop of Eli, if that's okay.
Okay.
So Canterbury and so this is Act 1, Scene 1 of Henry V, and then after this we're doing Act 3, Scene 1 of Henry VI, Part 3 comes after this. So you guys are clear where you're starting whenever you're ready.
My lord, I'll tell you. That self-bill is urged, which in the 11th year of the last king's reign was like and had indeed against us passed, but that the scambling and unquiet time did push it out of further question.
But how, my lord, shall we resist it now?
It must be thought on. If it pass against us, we lose the better half of our possession. For all the temporal lands which men devout by testament have given to the church would they strip from us, being valued thus as much as would maintain to the king's honor full 15 earls and 1,500 knights, 6,200 good esquires, and to relief of lasers and weak age of indigent faith souls past corporal toil. 100 almshouses right well supplied, and to the coffers of the king beside 1,000 pounds by the year. Thus runs the bill.
This would drink deep.
To drink the cup and all.
But what prevention?
The king is full of grace and fair regard.
And a true lover of the Holy Church.
The courses of his youth promised not. The breath no sooner left his father's body, but his wildest, mortified in him, seemed to die too. Yea, at that very moment, consideration like an angel came and whipped off the offending Adam out of him, leaving his body as a paradise to envelop and contain celestial spirits. Never was such a sudden scholar made. Never came reformation in a flood with such a heady currents, scouring faults, nor never hydra-headed willfulness so soon did lose his seat and all at once as in this king.
We are blessed in the change.
Hear him but reason in divinity, and all admiring with an inward wish, you would desire the king were made a prelate. Hear him debate of commonwealth affairs, you would say it hath been all in all his study. List his discourse of war, and you shall hear a fearful battle rendered, you in music. Turn him to any cause of policy, the Gordian knot of it he will unloose, familiar as his garter, that when he speaks the air, a chartered libertine is still, and the mute wonder lurketh in men's ears to steal his sweet and honeyed sentences, so that the art and practice of life must be the mistress to this theoric, which is a wonder how his grace should glean it, since his addiction was to courses vain, his companies unlettered, rude, shallow, his hours filled up with rides, banquets, sports, and never noted in him any study, any retirement, any sequestration from open haunts and popularity.
The strawberry grows underneath the nettle, and wholesome berries thrive and ripen best, neighbored by fruit of baser quality. And so the prince obscured his contemplation under the veil of wildness, which no doubt grew like the summer grass, fast as by night, unseen yet crescent in his faculty.
It must be so, for miracles are ceased, and therefore we must needs admit the means how things are perfected.
But, my good lord, how now for mitigation of this bill urged by the commons? Doth his majesty incline to it or no?
He seems indifferent, or rather swaying more upon our part than cherishing the exhibitors against us. For I have made an offer to his majesty upon our spiritual convocation, and in regard of causes now in hand, which I have opened to his grace at large, and touching France, to give a greater sum than ever at one time the clergy yet did to his predecessors part withal.
How did this offer seem received, my lord?
With good acceptance of his majesty, save that there was not time enough to hear, as I perceived his grace would fain have done, the severals and unhidden passages of his true titles to some certain dukedoms, and generally to the crown and seat of France derived from Edward, his great-grandfather.
What was the impediment that broke this off?
The French ambassador upon that instant craved audience, and the hour, I think, is come to give him hearing. Is it 4 o'clock?
It is.
Then we will go in to know his embassy, which I could with a ready guess declare before the Frenchmen speak a word of it.
I'll wait upon you, and I long to hear it.
Scene.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot. So now we have our King Henry and the two gameskeepers scene. So let's see. Henry is going to be the king. He comes. It starts with the two gamekeepers. That's Maggie and Bill. So it starts with you're just on, and then have all three of you found the scene? You know where it is.
I have found it.
Okay, good. So it's the top of the scene.
But Bill just did one, so he has to be the second one. I don't know if Bill, do you already have it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I just want to make sure because I'm going to take Henry out because he's not on the stage when it comes out. It starts with two keepers, and then the defeated king comes wandering on, and they don't know he's the king. Okay, so whenever you're ready, go ahead.
Okay. Under this thick-grown brake, we'll shroud ourselves, for through this lound anon the deer will come, and in this covert we will make our stand, culling the principle of all that the deer.
I'll stay above the hill so both may shoot.
That cannot be. The noise of thy crossbow will scare the herd, and so my shoot is lost. Here stand we both, and aim we at the best. And for the time shall not seem tedious, I'll tell thee what befell me on a day in this self place where now we mean to stand.
Here comes a man. Let's stay till he be past.
From Scotland am I stolen even of pure love, to greet mine own land with my wishful sight. No, Harry, 'tis no land of thine. Thy place is filled, thy sceptre wrung from thee, thy balm washed off wherewith thou wast anointed. No bending knee will call thee Caesar now. No humble suitors press to speak for right. No, not a man comes for a redress of thee. For how can I help them, and not myself?
Aye, here's a deer who skins a keeper's fee. This is the quondam king. Let's seize upon him.
Let me embrace thee, sour adversity, for wise men say it is the wisest call.
Why linger we? Let us lay hands upon him.
Forbear a while, we'll hear a little more.
My queen and son are gone to France for aid. And as I hear, the great commanding Warwick is thither gone to crave the French king's sister to wife for Edward. If this news be true, poor queen and son, your labour is but lost. For Warwick is a subtle orator, and Lewis, a prince soon won with moving words. By this account, then, Margaret may win him, for she's a woman to be pitied much. Her sighs will make a battery in his breast. Her tears will pierce into a marble heart. The tiger will be mild while she doth mourn, and Nero will be tainted with remorse. To hear and see her plaints, her brinish tears. Aye, but she's come to beg, Warwick to give. She on his left side craving aid for Henry, he on his right asking a wife for Edward. She weeps and says her Henry is deposed. He smiles and says his Edward is installed. That she, poor wretch, for grief can speak no more, whilst Warwick tells his title, smooths the wrong, inferreth arguments of mighty strength, and in conclusion wins the king from her. With promise of his sister, and what else, to strengthen and support King Edward's place. O Margaret, thus 'twill be, and thou, poor soul, art then forsaken, as thou wentest forlorn.
Say, what art thou that talk'st of kings and queens?
More than I seem, and less than I was born to. A man at least for less I should not be. And men may talk of kings, and why not I?
Aye, but thou talk'st as if thou wert a king.
Why, so I am in mind, and that's enough.
But if thou be a king, where is thy crown?
My crown is in my heart, not on my head, not decked with diamonds and Indian stones, nor to be seen. My crown is called content, a crown it is that seldom kings enjoy.
Well, if you be a king crowned with content, you're crowned content, and you must be contented to go along with us. For as we think, you are the king. King Edward hath deposed, and we, his subjects sworn in all allegiance, will apprehend you as his enemy.
But did you never swear and break an oath?
No, never such an oath, nor will not now.
Where did you dwell when I was King of England?
Here, in this country, where we now remain.
I was anointed king at 9 months old. My father and my grandfather were kings, and you were sworn true subjects unto me. And tell me then, have you not broke your oath?
No, for we were subjects, but while you were king.
Why, am I dead? Do not breathe a man. Ah, simple men, you know not what you swear. Look, as I blow this feather from my face, and as the air blows it to me again, obeying with my wind when I do blow, and yielding to another when it blows, commanding always by the greater gust. Such is the likeness of you common men. But do not break your oath, for of that sin my mild entreaty shall not make you guilty. Go where you will. The king shall be commanded, and be you kings, command, and I'll obey.
We are true subjects to the king, King Edward.
So would you be again to Henry if he were seated as King Edward is?
We charge you in God's name and the king's to go with us unto the officers.
In God's name lead, your king's name be obeyed, and what God will, that let your king perform, and what he will, I humbly yield unto.
Okay, great, you guys. So we'll take. I think take Henry out, but the two of you are also going to be in. But you could.
I don't have that one yet, and I have to plug my charger in. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Is there any chance John can do his monologue and I'll get set up? Or if you want to, because I have to go get the charger. It's in another.
Okay, yeah, we can do John's monologue and then come back to this scene.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see, John, yeah. Okay, so John requested to do a second monologue, so we'll spin for that right now. Spinning for John's second monologue. He's going to do... Queen Margaret, April Content. Henry VI, same play that we just did, but Act 1, Scene 4, where she captured the Duke of York, where they mock him and put the paper crown on him.
So it's Henry VI. Okay, here.
Part 3, Act 1, Scene 4. So wherever you're...
Okay. Brave warriors. Is that it?
I'm not sure how it begins, but I know that it's a long, long, long monologue. So you can identify it by that.
Oh, okay, here it is. It's not too terribly long. I think this is it right here. So let me just do that. This one then. Darn it, where is it now? Had it a minute ago. Brave warriors, Clifford and Northumberland, come. Oh, excuse me. Make him stand upon this molehill here, that wrought at mountains with outstretched arms, yet parted but the shadow with his hand. What? Was it you that would be England's king? Was you that revelled in our parliament and made a preachment of your high descent? Where's that valiant crook? No. Oh, let me start it again here. Brave warriors, Clifford and Northumberland, come, make him stand upon the molehill here, that wrought at mountains with outstretched arms, yet parted but the shadow with his hand. What? Was it you that would be England's king? Was't you that revelled in our parliament and made a preachment of your high descent? Where are your mess of sons to back you now? That wanton Edward and that lusty George? And where's that valiant crook-backed prodigy Dickie, your boy, that with his grumbling voice was wont to cheer his dad in mutinies? Or with the rest, where is your darling Rutland? Look, York, I stained this napkin with the blood that valiant Clifford with his rapier's point made issue from the bosom of the boy. And if thine eyes can't water for his death, I give thee this to dry thy cheeks withal. Alas, poor York, but that I hate thee deadly, I should lament thy miserable state. I pray thee, grieve to make me merry, York. What? Hath thy fiery heart so parched thine entrails that not a tear can fall for Rutland's death? Why art thou patient, man? Thou shouldst be mad, and I, to make thee mad, do mock thee thus. Stamp, rave, and fret, that I may sing and dance. Thou wouldst be feed, I see, to make me sport. York cannot speak unless he wears a crown for York. And lords, bow low to him, hold you his hands whilst I do set it on. Aye, merry sir, now looks he like a king. Aye, this is he that took King Henry's chair, and this is he, was his adopted heir. But how is it that the great Plantagenet is crowned so soon and broke his solemn oath? As I bethink me, you should not be king till our King Henry had shook hands with death. And I will pale your head in Henry's glory, and rob his temples of the diadem, now in his life against your holy oath. Oh, 'tis a fault too unpardonable. Off with his crown, and with the crown his head, and whilst we breathe, take time to do him dead. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, John. So I'm hoping Bill and Maggie have found their places now. It would just be from the top, our Antony and
Right.
Cleopatra. Act 4, scene 14. A lot of scenes in this one. So we're gonna take Maggie out because she's Marty and she's coming in later, just briefly as a messenger from Cleopatra. I gotta get John out. Okay. So are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Eros, thou yet beholdst me.
Aye, noble lord.
Sometimes we see a cloud that's dragonish, a vapor sometimes like a bear or lion, a towered citadel, a pendant rock, a forked mountain or blue promontory with trees upon't. Nod unto the world and mock our eyes with air. Thou hast seen these signs, their black vespers pageants,
Aye, my lord.
which is now a horse, even with a thought the ractus limbs and makes it indistinct, as water is in water.
It does, my lord.
My good knave Eros, now thy captain is even such a body. Here I am, and cannot this visible shape my knave. I made these wars for Egypt, and the queen whose heart I thought I had, for she had mine, which, whilst it was mine, had annexed unto it 1,000,000 more now lost. She, Eros, has packed cards with Caesar and false played my glory into an enemy triumph. Nay, weep not, gentle Eros. There is left us ourselves to end ourselves. Oh, thy vile lady, she has robbed me of my sword.
No, Antony, my mistress loved thee, and her fortunes mingled with thine entirely.
Saucy. Peace. She hath betrayed me, and shall die the death.
Death of one person can be paid but once, and that she has discharged. What thou wouldst do is done unto thy hand. The last she spake was, Antony, most noble Antony. Then in the midst a tearing groan did break the name of Antony, and it was divided between her heart and lips. She rendered life thy name so buried in her.
Dead then.
Dead.
Unarm, Eros. The long day's task is done, and we must sleep. Thou, that thou departst hence safe, must pay thy labor richly. Go. Oh, pluck off! The sevenfold shield of Ajax cannot keep thy battery from my heart. Oh, cleave my sides, heart, once be stronger than thy content. Crack thy frail case. Apace, Eros, apace. No more a soldier. Bruised pieces go. You have been nobly born for me a while. I will o'ertake thee, Cleopatra, and weep for my pardon. So it must be, for now all length is torture, since the torch is out. Lie down and stray no farther. Now all labor mars what it does. Yea, very force entangles itself with strength. Seal then, and all is done. Eros! I come, my queen. Eros! Stay for me. Where souls who couch on flowers will hand in hand, and with our sprightly port make the ghosts gaze. Dido and her Aeneas shall want troops, and all the haunt be ours. Come, Eros! Eros!
What would my lord?
Since Cleopatra died, I have lived in such dishonor that the gods detest my baseness. I that with my sword courted the world, and o'er green Neptune's back with ships made cities, condemn myself to lack the courage of a woman, less noble mind than she, which by her death our Caesar tells. I am conquered of myself. Thou art sworn, Eros, that when the exigence should come, which now is come indeed, when I should see behind me the inevitable persecution of disgrace and horror, that on my command thou then wouldst kill me. Do it. The time is come. Thou strikest not me. 'Tis Caesar thou defeatst. Put color in thy cheek.
The gods withhold me. Shall I do that which all the Parthian darts, though enemy, lost aim and could not?
Eros, wouldst thou be windowed in great Rome and see thy master thus with pleached arms, bending down the corrigible neck, his face subdued to penetrative shame, whilst the wheeled seat of fortunate Caesar, drawn before him, branded his baseness that ensued?
I would not see it.
Come then, for with a wound I must be cured. Draw thou the honest sword which thou hast worn, most useful of our country.
Oh, sir, pardon me.
When I did make thee free, sworest thou not then to do this when I bade thee? Do it at once! For thy precedent services are all but accidents purposed. Draw and come!
Turn from me then, that noble countenance, wherein the worship of the whole world lies.
Lo thee.
My sword is drawn.
Then let it do at once the thing why thou hast drawn it.
My dear master, my captain, and my emperor, let me say, before I strike this bloody stroke, farewell.
'Tis said, man. And farewell.
Farewell, great chief. Shall I strike now?
Now, Eros.
Why, there, then, thus I do escape the sorrow of Antony's death.
Thrice nobler than myself. Thou teachest me, O valiant Eros, what I should, and thou couldst not. My queen and Eros have by their brave instruction got upon me a nobleness and record. But I will be a bridegroom in my death and run into it. As to a lover's bed, come then, and Eros, thy master dies thy scholar to do thus. I learned of thee. Not dead. Not dead. The god, ho! Oh, dispatch me. Okay. That one was a lot of fun. Okay, thank you everybody for your great performances as always. Good seeing you again. Hope the people watching on YouTube enjoyed us as well. It's been a pleasure, and good start to the month of June. We'll see you next time, same channel for the Wheel of Shakespeare Challenge. See you guys then. Bye now.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.